Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Salute to the Sickos. My name is Marcus, and with me today is Keith. Keith, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing awesome on this lovely day. Now, you are from across the pond, correct?
Yeah, from where you're standing, I guess I am.
Yes, yes. Good old UK. You got lots of UK fans over there from for AEW, and you guys got lots of good wrestlers from that that are that are from the UK that are in AEW. So I'm sure they make you proud.
They certainly do. I had the pleasure of going to the same school as one of them,
Oh, really? Who's that?
Nigel McGuinness. He's about,
Really?
yeah, he's about 4 or 5 years older than me. I can't claim he was a friend or anything. We must have passed in the corridor like dozens of times, I'm sure. He's from a village about 5 miles down the road from where I grew up. So yeah, he represents us very well.
Awesome to hear. So let's get started. How long have you been? How long have you watched wrestling for?
That's a really interesting question. I got into wrestling with the Attitude Era. So many people did, right? It basically came about because one of my friends, about 17 years old, one of my friends said, you need to come out with us one night for a few drinks, down the pub. It's a UK thing, right? That's cool when you're 17, or it used to be. Next morning, kind of hungover, and I said, "Oh man, what do we do with this hangover?" The next morning, he said, "I tell you what we do is we eat bacon tortilla wraps and we watch wrestling." And I loved it. I loved it just from that moment.
Hmm. So, so Attitude Era and stuff. Who were your favorite wrestlers from back then?
Well, initially I was, like a lot of people, I think I was really into kind of the soap opera aspect. But at the same time, I really liked Mick Foley. I really liked X-Pac. X-Pac was definitely an early favorite. I got to know of people, who were into wrestling, and they said, "Oh, you're more into the soap opera thing," and they said, you need to watch some really good in-ring action. I was like, "Oh, really? Okay, cool." And it showed me Living Dangerously 99, ECW,
Hmm.
Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn. And from that point onwards, I was an in-ring work rate guy through and through. I love my Jerry Lynn, my Rob Van Dam, Little Guido, all those ECW guys from that era as well.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. So what got you into AEW, and how long have you been watching that?
Oh, I think I had to say I'm a day one fan. I'd been out of watching wrestling, for quite some time. I grew kind of a bit disenfranchised with WWE, TNA. It wasn't really doing it for me. I spent quite a long time as a Ring of Honor fan. At one point I had a Ring of Honor collection of about 200 DVDs. Because that was like the only real way to keep up with it was like import DVDs from the US, and every week I'd get my little package, of 4, 5, 6 DVDs, and I keep up with the plot lines from Ring of Honor. Did that for a long time, but I'd even fallen off of that by the time 2019 rolled round. And again, one of my friends just called me up one day. Same friend, actually, same friend that took me out as a kid, and said, you got to get into wrestling. He called me up again, and he said, you got a day off from work coming up. You've heard about this new AEW thing that's going on, spinning off from the All In pay-per-view from last year. How about you come up and give it a watch? We'll spend the day. We'll give it a watch. And I said, yeah, that sounds real good. And just like the first time, just fell in love really, really quickly. This new promotion of fantastic matches, seeing all these faces I knew from like maybe from Ring of Honor or PWG, even British guys as well. Pac, who I used to see on the British Indies, back in the day doing his thing, and I just thought these are all these underappreciated guys that have never had a fair shake, and here they are now doing amazing matches. I hope this continues. I hope this catches on. I didn't expect it to. I thought there'd be one pay-per-view, two pay-per-view, and then maybe it would go. But no way, obviously it kept going, and then Dynamite started, and I think since then, I think I've missed like 3 episodes of Collision. But apart from that, every Dynamite, every pay-per-view, every episode of Dark, I've seen most of it. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
day one fan, hardcore fan, I guess.
So what are some of your favorite matches from AEW?
Oh man, matches, there's so many to choose from, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think I really really liked it's from is it from last year or the year before? Will Ospreay versus MJF.
Uh-huh.
Was on an episode of Dynamite. And I'm always appreciative of a nice long match, a nice lengthy match, and but particularly what I loved was, any match goes 45 minutes, and you think, this is a time limit draw. The last 15 minutes of this is going to be a time limit draw. But to have MJF win that match, I think with 3 seconds left in the time, I think it was like 59 minutes and 57 seconds or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I thought, now that's a great story. That's a fantastic story. You don't see that done very often, you know. So I absolutely love that, doing something slightly different. And respect to the guys for doing it for 60 minutes. Keeping the action engaging. Incredible stuff.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I can agree. I love that match. That went quite a long time, and they did the thing, and I I can't say enough about it. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's obviously been some great 60-minute matches, some great time limit draws that AEW does. It's something they do, right? WWE doesn't do that, or they never used to. I don't know if they do it these days. I doubt it. Um, but to let the guys go out there and do 60 minutes, you got to have faith in the guys to be able to hold the audience for that long. There was the tag match with FTR and the Bang Bang Gang, which was the time limit draw as well. Absolutely, I think it's going out there and having faith in the guys to get the job done, and to hold an audience and tell an amazing story.
Hmm. So I like to ask longtime fans of AEW to point out something that you think that AEW needs to change.
Oh, oh, that's a tricky one, huh? It's a tricky one. Um, there's a few things. I don't know about needing to change, but there's a few things I miss. Those first couple of years, I know it's pandemic era, etc. But even before that, and the people criticized AEW, said it's a super indie, it's being like an indie wrestling show, but like on a big scale. And there is something about that charm, of it feeling small and intimate, and having some of those indie stars. They still, to this day, bring people in and out, don't they? You get, it's Forbidden Door season right now. So bringing wrestlers in. But back in the day when you just random wrestlers from the indies would turn up all the time, and you never quite know what's going to happen. I kind of miss that a little bit.
Hmm.
I do understand that maybe going forward they've got their own identity now. They've got their own wrestlers. They've got an amazing roster. They don't need to bring in people all the time. There's not enough time for some of the amazing wrestlers they've already got. So I do get that. I think there's already been a lot of improvers, Marcus. If I'm quite honest with you, I think that the promotion as a whole is not so beholden maybe to egos like anymore. I think a few people came in early to mid AEW kind of times, and maybe expected it was going to be a bit like going to TNA in 2006, and welcome to AEW. Here's your world title reign. Thank you very much. And maybe they got a bit pissed when that didn't come. I won't name any names. Everyone knows who they are, I think. Um,
Yes.
yeah, but I don't think that's that anymore. I think they really concentrate on people that are going to add something to the show, that want to be there and want to contribute to an overall kind of amazing wrestling promotion. So I think that's got better as well. In terms of going forward, what should they do? Man, they don't want to take advice from me. I'm not a booker. I don't know
Hmm.
what it needs to be. I'm enjoying it a lot. Sign Zack Sabre Jr. Go on, try and poach Zack Sabre Jr. from New Japan. That would please me. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like the way he comes in every once in a while, does his thing, and then goes back out and kind of stays with New Japan. I think they need all the help they can get.
That's
Right.
true. That's true. They don't want to lose any more people, because I love that. I love that company as well. And yeah, they probably do still need him over there. And there is something. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's charming that he comes in with his cocky attitude uh,
Hmm.
and his amazing technical skills, and just does a spot every year or so. So yeah, like I said, I'm not a booker. They shouldn't take my advice. That's for sure.
I could appreciate that. So. there's on the news. There's lots of rumors about people coming in who have been released from the WWE. Is there any one that really stands out to you that says I can't wait until they could possibly get over here?
Honestly, I don't think AEW needs anybody. I think you have to sign the New Day. I think that's a no-brainer. In terms of people who have name recognition, still put on amazing matches at whatever ages they are now, but and could add something to the product. Yeah, that's the one. That's the obvious one. In terms of other releases, there's no one massively that stands out. I think I've always been a bit of a fan of Nikki Cross. But I think maybe she's decided to. I think she's recently bought one of the large British indies along with her husband. So maybe that's kind of what she plans to do, is try and help the British indies develop, which I love and I respect, because I've been a fan of the British indies on and off for a very long time as well. So if that's what she wants to do, then fair enough. But I think you've got to have the New Day. You've got to have the New
Yeah.
Day. If I can go back and answer a previous question about what to do, that actually has made me think. If anything, I think, and I'm sure if he's out there listening, I don't mean any disrespect, but I think Tony Khan maybe needs to sometimes see the value in people that he doesn't necessarily personally like.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, the situation, the current situation with Danhausen. It'll be like a situation. Go, that guy's gone global. That guy's gone worldwide. You're thinking, well, why couldn't he do that in AEW? And I think that Tony Khan brought that guy in because he realised that the people wanted it. The people really wanted it. So fair enough. But didn't really know what to do with him when he got there, and didn't see in him what the potential that he had to engage the world. And people say, okay, well, he can only thrive in this environment, not that environment. And AEW wasn't the right place for him. I don't think he got a shot to find out if it was the right place for him. I think he could have been huge. I'm not the world's biggest Eddie Kingston fan, but I think there was a time in 2022 or something like that he was one little push away from just being on top of the world, and he could have crossed over and really, really brought people into the product. But again, I think he's not the sort of guy that maybe Tony Khan necessarily loved that much. So he reacted to the fans saying, bring this guy in, bring this guy in. But when he was there, he didn't necessarily know what to do with him too much. I think didn't necessarily want him to be a world champion or anything. I think he could have been, and I think it could have been absolutely huge. Having said that, as I say, he seems to book and to like all the guys that I prefer and I like. So, from a business point of view, I think more can be made of certain people. But from a personal point of view, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Okay. So we have a little game here. I like to play. It's called This or That, and you get to choose two wrestlers. Well, I choose two wrestlers for you, and you have to pick one. There's no cop out saying, "Well, I like both." So we're gonna start with Will Ospreay versus Pac.
Oh, you're going in easy, huh? Oh God.
Yeah, going in easy. Yeah.
Oh man, that's hard. I'm gonna say Will Ospreay. I love Pac to pieces. I really, really, really do. Like I say, I saw him on the British Indies, Dragon Gate UK, amazing guy. I think that Ospreay's got that engagement with the audience that Pac doesn't always get. I think he's got star written on him in a way that Pac has never quite managed. I'm really sorry, Pac. I'm really, really sorry.
I agree. Tony Storm or sorry, my brain just skipped. Tekla.
Tony Storm or Tekla? Athena. No, Tony Storm. Tekla's growing on me. There's a lot of people out there that really, really love Tekla. And I think as somebody said to me, she's a heel that feels like she's having a really good time. Rather than being sort of doom and gloom and evil and I'm going to beat you up. She smiles all the time. And I think it's really engaging. But you can't beat Tony Storm. You just can't. Yeah. Really, she's a great in-ring wrestler. And that character is just something that's connected with people so much. So no disrespect for Tekla. Tekla, you're growing on me. You're definitely growing on me. But there's no way to replace Tony Storm. Tony Storm is Tony Storm, and no one else is Tony Storm.
Yes, very true. Chris Jericho versus Christian.
Christian. Love Jericho.
Oh,
Love Jericho, but Christian's my guy. Christian's been my guy. You said who do you love from the Attitude Era? I should have said Edge and Christian, and I should have particularly said Christian. You know, all of these guys back in the day, I was always like, I think even though Edge is the bigger star, I think Christian might actually be the better wrestler. And he is. I think he is all day. I think he was amazing in TNA. You know, he went to TNA to prove that he could be a top guy, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park, and he proved it. I think that his whole father character and shenanigans, the being ostensibly now a babyface, even though he's still the most irredeemable asshole you would ever meet in your life. I think that's incredibly charming. Christian all day. Christian is one of my top guys ever. And again, no disrespect to Jericho, who's also got a lovely singing voice. So there we go.
okay. Kenny Omega versus Okada.
Huh. Oh, Kenny Omega versus Okada. Oh, that's it. These are tough, man. These are really, really tough. I'm gonna say Kenny Omega. He's got that nerd energy that I really like. What else do I say? I mean, he's had so many amazing moments, particularly in AEW. You know, I think his first, the first couple of years, his storyline with the Young Bucks and with Hangman and the tag titles, and leading in then to the World Championship win and the heel turn and the Hangman chase for the gold. I mean, people say, "Oh, Hangman's amazing. That's an amazing story." And don't get me wrong, Hangman isn't amazing, and that is an amazing story. But Kenny Omega, I had just sensed that his footprints are all over that backstage, and that couldn't have been quite so amazing with anyone else in that role. And that for me is like a top 2 or top 3 storyline, not just in AEW but in wrestling. I put it up there with some of the great ones that I used to watch in Ring of Honor. I think without Kenny Omega, you don't get that. I'm gonna have to say Kenny Omega. And again, love Okada. Always love to see him in the ring. His backstage demeanor is a fantastic balance between menacing and comedic. He's amazing as well. But if I had to pick one, it's Kenny, probably Kenny.
All right, last one: Young Bucks versus FTR.
Oh man. I think that would change depending on what day you asked.
Okay.
I like I say to FDR, but just simply because I think they redefined tag team wrestling, and I think that particularly on the indies, the idea is tag team is a cruiserweight thing, like the tag teams, like the Young Bucks. It's smaller people, it's fast paced, lots and lots of double team moves, really kind of 21st century stuff, the kind of innovative, post ECW, Ring of Honor, Jerry Lynn sort of influence style, TNA exhibition style, I suppose you could call it. So to have a tag team that come in and said, no, we're going to do classic kind of American tag team wrestling, but we're just going to do it really, really, really well. And I like that. I like that a lot. I tend to go towards the smaller guys, the flippy guys, the super technical guys. But FTR just do what they do so incredibly well that I think it's hard. It's hard to pick any other tag team against them because they're that good. If there was anyone to pick against them, it's probably the Bucks for sure. But I'd have to give it to FTR.
Okay, so that wraps up that portion. So last thing I like to do is give people a chance to shout out to the fans, to give a message to the fans and say how much they love AEW, what their experiences, and just one last line to the fans.
Okay, well, hi fans. Love AEW, love wrestling, watch wrestling. Wrestling is amazing. It's amazing because of the fans. We bring the energy to it. If without the fans there, it's really just a bunch of guys goofing around in their underwear. It has to have those fans. If we don't react to, if we don't boo the heels, if we don't cheer the faces, if we don't turn up and represent every week, every time that we're able to, then wrestling doesn't work. So, for every fan out there who goes along to their show and goes along to their local shows as well. The guys you're going to see on your TV 5 or 10 years time, they're in the high school gyms, they're in the town halls, they're applying their trade. They need to learn, and they need to learn from the fans as much as they need to learn from their peers in the ring. So go out and check out your local indie, American, British, whatever it is. Get in there, fill some seats. Make sure somebody one day just gets a few more quid than just a hot dog and a handshake. And be a part of developing that next generation of amazing stars that will come to our TV shows one day.
All right. Well, this is for the show. I appreciate you coming on today. We have lots of fans out there. Like I said, every AEW sicko has a story, and we're wanting to get it out there. So we will see you next time.
Hey, it's been a great experience, Marcus, and thanks for giving the opportunity.
All right. Thank you.